The center of Pennsylvania Avenue from the White House to the Capitol soon may be reserved for just two things: the president's inauguration and people riding bicycles. A pair of bike lanes are destined to grace the middle of one of the country's most fabled streets as part of an expanding network of dedicated bicycle lanes in the district, soon to include LI 9th Street Northwest and more of 15th Street Northwest.
Yeah, look, when I read about this early this morning, and I just assumed that a dedicated bike lane would be that small little bike lane
to the right,
like you get at the beach,
on the right-hand side. Where bicycles are free to go,
glorified
maybe
sidewalk.
2x2, but mostly 1x1.
And they never use them.
And I had no problems with that whatsoever. Then I heard on Channel 4 that these things were going to remove an entire lane of automobiles, which the last time I looked, the roads were made for automobiles, and that they were going to somehow be in the middle and not on the sides, and we were going to be dominated as if this was Beijing by hundreds of thousands of bicyclists. And I don't really care what they do on Pennsylvania Avenue if you can't ride a car on that anyway. But how are they going to get the bikes down there? They're going to have to go through other streets. I think this is a terrible, terrible idea. I mean, I don't mind those one lanes. I don't mind that. But you get in Rock Creek Park and 3 or 4 of these people start riding abreast. And, and I swear to you, it's all you can do to not run them down. Like Wile E. Coyote, just run them over and stay on the right. I mean, stay on the right. I'm happy to share the road with you, but by share the road, what I mean is you have room on the right and I have room on the road. Get the hell out of my way. Am I wrong in this?
Strong letter to follow.
Am I?
Here's the problem I have. I'll give you the bike lanes if we opened up Pennsylvania Avenue on the one side of the White House and that other street behind. Because when they closed those off for stupid security reasons, it created such congestion downtown.
What are you going to do?
Major bottlenecks.
Where are you going to go?
You add this, it's going to make it even worse.
These chesty cyclists. I mean, they take that right lane and they're already moving over to the middle.
And they all wear, my God, with the little water bottle in the back and their stupid hats. And their shiny shorts, they are the same disgusting posers that in the middle of a snowstorm come out with cross-country skiing on your block. Run them down. I mean, if they don't use the right, let them use the right. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Or they can ride on the top of the curb.
It's a ballsy group. That whole group.
I don't take my car and ride on the sidewalk because I understand that's not for my car.
Right.
Why do these people think that these roads were built for bicycles?
Because they're crunchy granola. They just want us to live in a cleaner world.
I'm not. I know I'm going to get. Someone's going to hate me for this.
Well, they already do.
Am I wrong?
No, the bike sponsors are cutting off now.
Am I wrong?
If everybody truly shared the road, I'm all for people getting more exercise.
Yeah.
They don't share it now.
They don't share the road. They dominate the road. They dare you to run them down.
Yes, they do.
And then when you do, they get angry. What is that about?
If you honk, they slow down in front of you,
and so you tap them. I'm not saying to kill them. I'm saying just tap the one.
Make them take a spill.
Just
not a fatal spill, but just a limb losing spill.
If you're not rubbing, you're not racing, right? So you just pop them a little bit and see what happens.
So annoying.
Why? So when they get. Gary,
this is a Fenty move. He's a big
He's
cyclist.
a big bike guy.
With a security detail, of course.
Right.
Again, why can't
What's
they
next?
just...
Then you got the segways.
What's wrong with the little lane on the right? I'm off. I don't drive in the little lane on the right.
Here's the argument I think they would make, is that the little lane on the right is often covered up by cars that are parked at the wrong time of day and buses that have pulled in to let
Tell
them
to take Metro.
Out.
We've got a subway system
Well, then
that
they
works.
can veer out a little bit. My objection to them is when they ride in the middle of the road, they give you the finger.
Yep.
They do all the time. Yep. They think they own it because they think that you think you own it. I don't think I own it. I own it. I have a car. I have a large, powerful car compared to your stupid little bicycle.
It seems a little discriminatory to me. I mean, what about unicyclists? Why don't they get a lane?
Well, they can have the same lane on the right.
It's a bicycle lane.
Anything with less than 4 wheels or 3 wheels
gets the right lane if there is one. And if there isn't one, take the Metro.
How about a Segway? How about you get those tools standing there, on the thing with the moving?
Yeah, those didn't happen at all, did they?
Yeah.
Those are a joke.
They were in Paul
nobody.
Blart, Mall Cop.
Yeah, that doesn't work. So we're open. The whole city is going to be just for bicycles.
Under siege.
I'm telling you, it's Beijing.
It's
So
awful.
it'd be buses and bicycles. That's all there's going to be.
There are plenty of paths.
So what's next? Eating dogs? I mean, come on.
The Capitol Crescent Trail gets you to Georgetown, and then you can take the metro from there.
What? Yeah.
Get on a bus.
What is the? Yes. What is there? What's their problem?
Feed the economy.
When they're right, they are. What did you call them? Granola.
They're a crunchy group.
They don't shave their legs.
Well,
maybe
many
they
of
do.
them are men.
The
Tony.
women.
Oh.
Some of them are men.
Actually, I
the
think
men
they
shave
do.
their legs.
I think they do shave their
The
legs to
women
fit
don't.
into those bicycle
Right.
shorts, so they can glisten
Yeah.
as they
Right.
ride.
Exactly.
Stop.
They throw water on themselves. They're not even sweating.
Well, we've trashed them pretty good.
Right. Who's next?
Feel good about that. What do you got, Kevin?
All right, get this, Tony. We talked last hour about the expansion of bike lanes in the district. Apparently, the right-hand bike lane's
such
not
a
enough for
plague.
these people.
It's such a
Yeah,
plague.
move them now to the middle of the street.
Why are they in the middle of the street?
Well, who knows? But
I want to
Google-
be in the middle of the street. I'm driving a car.
Seems to increase the likelihood that they would be
Google
struck.
doing more for this group of people. They've come out with their latest product, Google Maps for Bikers.
Yeah.
So now you can
Not
Google
bikers,
Map your
not bikers, cyclists.
Cyclists.
Bikers
Yeah.
ride motorcycles.
Right.
The Oregonian, which is the newspaper of note in Crunchville, USA, Portland, Oregon. The
Well, I think they
Oregonian
started bike lanes.
panned the new Google Maps for cyclists, saying it was, quote, incomplete and inadequate.
So there you
Closed
go.
quote. Meantime, a couple of cyclist stories that have broken in the last few hours that are very reflective of this category of people. In Brunswick, Maine, 2 men on bikes tried to rob a pregnant woman. In Windsor, Ontario, 2 men on
Sons
bikes
of
assaulted
bitches.
a male driver through the window of his car after a road dispute.
So
We've all been there before.
They
Every
do
last
that all
one
the
of them.
time. They go right up to your car. They start banging on your car, try to make you feel
Yes.
guilty for owning a car, and somehow the law does not allow you to run them
Hey,
down.
buddy.
In St.
Get your
Louis,
foot off Mother Earth's throat.
in St. Louis, a woman on a bike riding in rush hour traffic blew a tire, tumbled into the middle of the road in front of an oncoming traffic. She was run over by a taxi. She survived, but the taxi driver had to be rushed to the hospital with an injured neck. Meantime, Neil from Rockville emailed in to say he recommends that you buy a Toyota as it provides you with a built-in defense if you accidentally strike a bicycle while driving to work.
Neil, that's why Neil is on the case. It's very, very good. From Rob Erickson
course.
in Bloomington, Minnesota. I wouldn't worry about the plan to change the roads to bike paths. Come Monday, all the roads will be canals, and D.C. will be known as the Venice of the West. This is sent allegedly by Rosanna Dana from Heaven. What's all this talk about special lanes for bisexuals? It's actually Michael Williams in Silver Spring. Nigel thought that was very funny. Michael Geezy writes, maybe you would consider this a technicality, but remember that Washington, D.C. is over 200 years old, so the roads were actually made for horses. And the Mr. Tony-esque pedestrian haters of that era, peasant-crushing carriages. Please, please, please say my name on the radio, which I did. Jordan Owen in Traverse City, Michigan. Let me get this straight. Tapping and flipping stock cars over at 190 miles an hour is bad. Tapping cyclists and running them over is good. Thank you for clearing that up. Josh Cromwell in Moselle, Mississippi. The new bike lane sounds like a great way to warm up Steven Strasburg before his Major League debut. Just stick him on the sidewalk, let him hurl fastballs at all the cyclists who go down the street. Chris Kenner in Oklahoma City. Good news, Mr. Tony. If you tap one of the stupid bikers on the road, you can just admit that there was contact, and then you'd be totally off the hook. So go get them. From Cher, a haiku for me and the bikers. Don't wear white at night. Hog the lane and run the light. I have excuses.